I would like to give the floor to Miljenka Kuhar from DOR, Society for Shaping Sustainable Development in Croatia, in order to present us the current developments for the social climate plan in Croatia and, of course, to see the linkages with energy poverty. Miljenka, thank you for your participation. The floor is yours.
Thank you for the invitation. Give me just a second to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you, Samuel, for the introduction. And I must say that in Croatian NSCP, we actually have only one measure that is targeting energy poverty, and it's goes something like government will create energy poverty alleviation program until 2030, and then it gives some small targets of what will be covered by the program. So the process of drafting the social and climate plan for us has been challenging, I would say. So as Christos said, I'm coming from the organization called Society for Sustainable Development Design, and we are an NGO that is being active in the area of energy efficiency and energy poverty for like at least 2 decades. And we have been participating in this process as national experts who are trying to help national government or national ministry to better shape some of the measures that are related to energy poverty and energy efficiency under social and climate plans. And as for the definition and for criteria, until recently, Croatia didn't have official definition of energy poverty, but in early in March, new law on energy or old law on energy efficiency was amended, and the definition that is also the definition from EED was added to the law on energy efficiency. So basically we have the same definition as it is prescribed in EED. The criteria are also the same as the ones that are given in EED. Just a second. So as for Croatia and for our potential funds that will be available through Social and Climate Fund, the Croatian allocation should be around 1.68 billion euros. And the ministry decided that the best approach would be to approximately give 20% to direct support to households and micro enterprises who are deemed to be energy poor or are vulnerable to the changes in the system due to ETS2 system. 30%, roughly 30% will be given to the energy efficiency and similar measures, and around 50% will be probably given to different transport measures that are targeting transport poverty. So when we are talking about potential measures that will be targeting energy poverty, there will be, besides the direct support, that is actually the continuation of the measure that government has been implementing for the past 10 years. So Croatian government has been giving to certain population that is that has been under the social or welfare system. They have been giving them like this so-called energy vouchers in recent years from 2022 until 2025. The value of these vouchers is around 70 euros per month, and the category of beneficiaries of this measure has been significantly increased. So there are not only people now who are users of social and welfare system, but also people, elderly people, unemployed, people with different types of disability, and so forth. So that's why the government decided that 20% of social climate plan or funds that are available through the fund will probably be directed to this type of direct support. But the rest of the money that will go to direct measures that will somehow contribute to elevation of energy poverty are the first one, integral renovation or integral, deep and comprehensive renovation of individual energy and individual energy renovation measures for worst performing family houses, because Croatia, as all other member states, has the obligation under EPBD to renovate at least 16% of worst performing family houses. And in Croatia's case, that means that a lot of these worst performing houses are also houses being occupied by low income or energy poor or in other ways vulnerable households. So this is one of the rationales why the ministry was suggesting that this should be the measure that will ultimately be the one that will be funded under social and climate plan. So the proposal for now is that around 22% of the funds will go to that is available for energy efficiency type of measures will go to this measure, so around 369 millions of euros. And regarding the targets, they will target around 4,000 family houses, maybe a bit more, because the average square meters of livable space for energy poor and vulnerable households is between 100 and 150 square meters, depending on the region. So at the end, around 720 square meters, 20,000 square meters of livable space should be renovated by 2030 second. And the issue with this measure is actually that considering the inflation rate, it is very hard to actually predict the value of the measure because the costs of renovation has increased severely in the last 4 years. So current estimation is that renovation costs on average are somewhere between 450 and 600 euros per square meter for a family house. The second measure that is targeting energy poor households is a measure that is actually supporting information and advisory type of measures. And one of the obligations under EPBD Article 18 is also to establish one-stop shops that will try to help in their capacities people who are energy poor and in other ways vulnerable to energy poverty and other types of vulnerabilities. So the idea is behind this measure is to try to target at least 1,000 beneficiaries each year through different informational or different types of advisory services through these one-stop shops or similar mechanisms that are pursuant to Article 18 of EPBD. And probably the costs that will be eligible under this measure will be some type of operational costs, and the total estimated value of the measure would be somewhere around 5 million euros. And the idea is that the existing infrastructure at local level or at regional level should be somehow used and not like that no new infrastructure would be actually introduced by this measure, but that ministry will open this direct call for existing infrastructures that could maybe serve as one-stop shops and do this type of services. And the third measure that will be directly targeting energy poor households and vulnerable households is the measure that will support affordable housing. This measure is actually the continuation of the measure that was previously funded under a National Recovery and Resilience Fund. And previously, back in 2021, Croatian government already mapped several 100 buildings that are either owned by the government or locally owned by local authorities. So in some type of public ownership, and these buildings have been deemed to be populated by predominantly energy poor population. So the idea behind this measure is to continue with the support of the renovation of these multi-apartment buildings in the areas of special state care, and this area has actually been regulated by the law on special state care where the buildings are situated. Until now, through the National Recovery and Resilience Fund, 56 buildings has been renovated, and the idea is to renovate remaining 232 buildings through Social and Climate Fund, and the cost of the measure should be somewhere around 168 million euros. And I don't know if I have some time left, because I also listed here the measures that are targeting transport poverty. We did not personally participate in the development of these measures, but I can maybe briefly just go through the measures. And then in my last slide, I have actually calculations on how each of these measures could contribute to Article 8 of EED, and how much energy we could, if the social climate plan and these measures will be implemented, how much energy and how much CO2 emissions could be saved in by 2032. So the first measure that is tackling transport poverty is improving cycling conditions in urban and suburban and rural areas where the public transport is not very accessible. And Croatia, unfortunately, has a lot of these pocketed areas where there is limited access to public transport. The second measure is improving accessibility to public transport in the same areas. So the idea is to somehow try to give certain subsidies and invest more in public transport network that would then connect people who are living in these types of areas better to urban centers. The next measure is establishing and operating on-demand mobility services. Basically, the idea behind this measure is the same as the previous one, to allow people who are living in this type of excluded areas to be more connected and to have more access to services that they need. Next measure is support to zero emission vehicles and purchase, so some types of subsidies for purchasing of these types of vehicles for transport vulnerable households. And also the same measure, but only for vulnerable micro enterprises. As you can see in this table, when we have been creating the measures, we have been also playing with potential savings and how these measures could contribute to energy savings. So the first three measures are the ones that are directly supporting energy poor households and vulnerable categories of households. So the calculations has been made progressively for 2026 until 2030, and at the end you can see the total possible accumulated estimation of energy savings. The same is for affordable housing and for one-stop shops, where we calculated that possibly some of the households that will be informed or advised through through these services will either implement some types of behavior change, or in the end they will choose maybe to implement some type of energy renovation, even in the form of individual energy renovation measure. And for all other measures that are also targeting vulnerable households in the transport sector, the same methodology has been implemented, and we tried to calculate the potential energy savings. And the last slide is the same thing, just for emission savings, where we also tried to estimate how many emission savings we could possibly have if we implement all of the measures that have been planned under the Social and Climate Plan. So that is from my side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Miljenka, for this comprehensive presentation and your